Coolio, man. Let's get this all settled in. That's sweet. Alrighty, so first of all, welcome to Jet Flight Simulator Sydney. Thank you guys for coming in. So, we've got a future pilot today. Wanting to be a pilot when you're older? Fantastic. So here we are. So today we are in the 737-800, the NGX. So it's brand new Qantas 737. So first of all, today we're in a multi-crew environment, which means there's two pilots. So you'll be the pilot flying, I'll be the pilot monitoring. So with that, you'll be in control of all the flying and all the thrust levers and everything like that. And I'll just be helping you out with some of the extra controls, like your speed brake here, some of your flaps and your landing gear lever as well. And I'll help you with all the autopilot stuff like that. Yeah, cool. So first things first, we've got our control column here, right? Left hand down to turn left, and then right hand down to turn right. Towards you for nose up, and away from you for nose down.
Okay.
Yep, cool. Just the same as the joystick.
Yeah.
Now this is not a steering wheel, so on the ground we can't use this to steer. So that's where we use our feet. So in front of us we go right foot down to go right, and left foot down to go left. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And if you look down at my feet as well, if you look down to my feet, you can see that you can point your toes like that, and that's your ground brakes.
Yeah.
So we'll use that for when we're landing the aircraft, all right?
Okay.
Cool. Next thing we have here is our flap levers. So do you know what flaps are?
Oh yeah.
Cool. So we'll see that if we extend these all the way down to 40%, those trailing edge surfaces on the wing, they start kind of extending down, as well as on the leading edge surfaces of the wing as well. Cool. So we'll use those for takeoff and landing, and I'll help you control that.
Okay.
Cool. Next thing we have here, so 737, so we have two engines. So we've got our thrust levers here. So we'll go forward to apply power, and you'll hear that the engines will start to spool up like that, and then backwards to idle.
Yeah.
And then so idle, you'll see it's got these tracks here. That's idle there.
Okay.
Nice smooth movements with this one today.
Okay.
Because it's a jet engine, it can stall easily, so we can't punch it all the way forward, because otherwise what happens is it's called a flame out. So there's too much fuel and it just douses the combustion. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I'll help you, don't worry about that, okay? So what we've got here is our percentage output. So all these numbers are like tens of percents. So we've got 100% there, 80%, 60%, 40, 20. That makes sense? Cool. And then these are our temperatures in degrees Celsius. So it's currently 430 degrees in the engines. That's going to be 600 degrees when we're taking off. So it's nice and hot. So what we'll do is when we take off, we'll push the throttles first forwards to 40%. That's what they do in the airlines. So we can spool and accelerate the engines up. I will check that there's no warning lights, and then from there you'll push forward.
Okay.
Cool? And that's what you'll do. Coolio. Next up is our speed brake here. So what happens when we land, you can see on the wing, if we arm the speed brake, all these little surfaces pop up on the wing there. You see that?
Yeah.
So what happens is this is in the armed position. When the aircraft has weight on the wheels, the speed brakes will automatically apply.
Okay.
And so what that does is it disrupts the airflow over the wing, so it stops the wing from producing lift.
Okay.
So when you put those up, this thing will not fly. And so we'll use that for landing. And you know how when you land on the plane, here the engines roar up a lot and there's that massive deceleration?
Yes.
That's reverse thrust. So we control it from these two levers here. So first thing we do is we idle the power, and then we lift these two fans up, and you'll see that the shell opens on the side of the engine and it redirects air back out towards.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then we'll close it just like that. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's all your controls, alrighty?
Yes.
So next up, just like on X-Plane, all the information's the same, it's just shown a little differently. So on the left-hand side there, where it says 45, that's your speed. So that's your airspeed in knots. And then in the middle, we've got our artificial horizon. So brown's the ground, blue's the sky. So the little dot in the center and the little arms like that, that's what our nose and our wings are doing in relation to the horizon, all right?
Yeah.
So we've got a bunch of lines here. So today we want to climb out at 15 degrees pitch up. So 2 lines above the 10.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And then we want to cruise at 5 degrees, so 2 lines above the ground.
Okay.
And then turning, we want to do 2 lines left or right. So that little pointer is going to move around, if that makes sense. So just if you forget, just remember everything is just 2. So cruise is 2 above the ground, climbs 2 above the 10, turns 2 left or right.
Okay.
Don't worry, I know it's a huge information dump. I'll be helping you through the entire thing. Okay? Cool. This is our navigation screen. So I'll put a bunch of waypoints and stuff in there.
Okay.
So when we're gonna take off, come back around and land on 2.5, so you can see how the aircraft flies, and you can land the aircraft as well. And I'll put a bunch of waypoints in there. It'll appear as a little star, and you just fly towards that.
Okay.
Cool. Almost forgot. Right hand side here is our altitude.
Yeah.
Cool. That's just in feet above sea level. And what we'll do is, if you look down to where your altitude is, I've got a little pink marker here. You see that?
Yes.
So that pink marker indicates what altitude I'd like you to maintain.
Okay.
So I'll move that around based on our cruise today. So our initial cruise, we're going to climb to 4,000 feet.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Cool. And it's the exact same with your speed. So if you look down at your speed, I've got a speed reference there.
Yeah.
It doesn't go below 110, because if you go any slower than that, this plane's not going to fly. Cool. So if you ever want to know what I'd like you to do, you've got pink for altitude, a pink for speed, as well as a little pink for heading as well.
Oh.
See that?
Yeah.
And so everything's got a little pointer. So the black indicates what we're actually doing, just like it does there, and
Yeah.
just like it does for speed. And then the pink is what we're planning to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And don't worry, you don't have to maintain it exactly type of thing, because obviously it's a very big plane, so everything happens very quickly, alright? And obviously I'll help you out through everything, okay?
Okay.
I know it's a huge information dump. Don't worry, mate. We're going to get straight into it. We're going to have lots of fun, alright?
Okay.
Last thing we'll do is, you know what this thing's called here? This little calculator looking thing?
No.
So this is called the flight computer. So this is an airline pilot's best friend. It's going to calculate all of our speeds and all of our fuel burns and everything for the entire duration of the flight based off of our weights and what we'd like to maintain. Alright?
Okay.
So we're going to put in a little route here so we can put a little waypoint in and everything like that. So what we'll do is, first things first, I just need to grab our weight. And so we'll calculate our takeoff speeds and everything like that, yeah? So today we weigh 66,262 kilograms. So what you can do for me, could you type in 62 on those numbers for me? Perfect, and then press that top left button on your side there. Perfect, so see what we've done? We've inputted that from the scratch pad into that data. So we've told the computer we weigh 62 tons.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Next thing we'll do is our reserves. So today we're going to set aside 2.5 tons of fuel in the event that we have to hold or do something like that.
Okay.
All right? So can you put in 2.5 for me? There's a little decimal there, nice one, perfect.
Yeah.
And then just into that thing next to the reserves. Yep, perfect, nice one. Now cost index is a funny one. You're going to learn all about that when you do your training when you're a bit older.
Okay.
So what cost index is, it's a company policy, so it's us as pilots telling the engines the most amount of fuel we want to put into them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically the lower the number, the stingier the airline.
Oh, okay.
So Qantas run a cost index of 100 and Ryanair run a cost index of 17
Oh.
because they want to save money on fuel. So today we're going to put in a cost index of 35, just like that.
Okay.
Cool. And today we're going to cruise at, let's say, 4,500. So could you type in 4,500 for me? Perfect, nicely done. And then just that top right button there for me. Perfect, nicely done there. Good stuff. Cool. Alrighty. Nice one. We have a green light so we can execute the plan. So we've now put the plan into the computer. Next thing we'll do is NOS 1 limit. So you see how there's that little green and the little red arrows on the engines?
Yes.
Red means under no circumstances do you exceed that power. Because these engines can produce 110% power. You never ever exceed it unless it's an extreme emergency. And if that's the case, after that they have to take the engine off and throw it away.
Okay.
So the green indicates what our maximum takeoff power will be. And that's based off of our weight. So what we're going to do is, can you set the third from the bottom for me on the left, where it says derate to 22k? Can you press that one for me? One more down.
Oh,
Yep. one more down. One more down.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. And you see what that's done is, based on our weight, it's calculated we only need that much power to take off.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Cool. Take off. So, have you ever heard of V1 and rotate and everything like that, like they do in the airlines?
No.
No? Cool. So V1 is our decision speed. So if we have an emergency below V1, we'll stop the takeoff.
Oh, okay.
And it means we have enough distance left on the runway to discontinue the takeoff and stop safely. Cool. And then rotate, which is what I'll say. When I say rotate, you start pulling back on the controls and then the nose will lift up and we'll take off.
Okay.
Cool. And then V2, that's just a safety speed. So we'll try climb out no less than that.
Okay.
Don't worry, this is just extra airline information. You'll learn all about this a bit later. And that's based off of our weight and our flap setting. So today we're going to take off with 5 degrees of flap. So could you put in the number 5 for me? And that top left button. Perfect. And see, it's automatically calculated our speeds.
Oh.
So our speed for V1 is 133, rotating at 134, and we will have a takeoff safety speed of 143 knots.
Okay.
Cool. I think we're just about ready for takeoff. Before we do our pre-takeoff checks, could you get these 4 switches down for me? Perfect. We've got our starters to continuous, so just over to the right 1 notch for me. And this one as well. Perfect. I'll get our lights down on this side. Can you get these 2 switches down for me? Perfect. Thank you. Alrighty. That's our seatbelt sign on, so we've told our passengers to sit back.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to push the throttles forward to 40%, and then I'll say engines are green, no warning lights, you can apply full power, and then you'll push these forward to the green little marker there.
Okay.
Cool. Now going along the runway, you're going to hear me call out a couple of speeds. So I'll say 80 knots, 100 knots, V1 and rotate. On rotate, that's your controlling up, alright? When we pitch the nose up, your eyes go from looking outside to looking down at the instruments. Because we climb very steep, so you'll look down at this one.
Okay.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Alright, Captain, get yourself nice and comfortable. Alrighty, park brake is off. Shall we push these forward for me?
Yep.
Push these forward to the 40-degree mark. Cool, and let it sit there. Engine temperatures, pressures stabilised. No warning lights. You can apply full power. Nicely done. Cool. Alrighty, now both hands on your controls. I'll have control of the throttles. Remember using your feet to steer. Airspeed is alive. $80 knots. 100 knots. V1 and rotate. So start to pull that stick back towards you. There she goes. Nicely done. Now setting that nose on the 15 right there, perfect, really good. Positive rate of climb, landing gear is coming up. Very nice, and here we are. Climbing out of Sydney, look at that. Nicely done, mate. Alrighty, so let's just continue climbing along like we are now. How's that? First takeoff? Pretty good. Absolutely natural, mate. Good stuff. So what we'll do is, we're going to continue our climb along in this direction, and we'll keep going up to our altitude, and we'll make a right turn out over the water, and then we'll come back into land.
So good.
That's safety speed. We'll get our flaps off. After takeoff checklist, starters to off, lights off, landing gear in the off position. Nicely done, mate. Really well. You're a natural. Cool. Alrighty. So what we'll do is now, we'll keep this climb going feet away from our, we're 1,000 feet away from our altitude, right? So there's going to be a little siren that's going to go off in a second, and that's going to say 700 feet away. There you go. That's just a little warning that's going to let us know that we're approaching our altitude. So you can gently start lowering the nose, and there's our little pink marker there. Gently start pushing that nose down onto that 5-degree line. Absolutely perfect. Good stuff, mate. Really well done. Now with your right hand, do you want to pull these thrust levers back to the 6 mark for me? And that's just going to set our cruise power so we can slow the aircraft down. Perfect. Excellent. There we go. Now we've set our cruise power. The aircraft is just going to maintain the speed. So what we'll do is we'll start getting into some turning. So can you make a right turn for me onto a heading of 070, just to that little pink marker there. Now just be aware in the turn, the nose may drop a little bit. So if it does, all you have to do is just pull that stick a little bit back towards you. Really well done, mate. Really good. Look at that.
Looking good.
Absolutely fantastic, mate. Good stuff. And see, all you want to do now is just get that little black pointer inside those goalposts. Very well done. Coolio.
Beautiful.
So, you can take a look outside if you like. We've got Palm Beach over there.
Palm Beach.
All north coast here. There's Manly Beach just down there. There's Watson's Bay over there. And what we'll do now is we'll get our autopilot on. So what we'll do is if you want to flick that switch up for me, get our auto throttles on, click to maintain speed, pressing that button there. Perfect, maintain heading select, and then altitude hold, and command alpha's engaged. Boom, look at that, aircraft's flying itself. And now we have the air hostess come in and bring us coffee and tea and we'll read a book and, you know, all that stuff. Alrighty, cool. And so now, the funny thing is with autopilot, is no matter what we do here, nothing's going to happen. So look at that, bang. Or if I chuck on full power, nothing's going to happen. So the autopilot overrides what I do. I have to manually disengage it by pressing that button there. Cool. And so if you want to steer or if you want to change something, we can just use this little thing here. So see if I move us over that way, there goes the aircraft. Do you want to turn us back onto a heading of 070?
070.
There you go, perfect. Nicely done. And you can see you've got a little number up here as well, so if you want to see what we're doing. So we've told the plane to maintain 200 knots on a heading of 070 at 4,500 feet.
Sometimes I hear the beep. What is that for?
So that just means you're leaving your altitude. So
Right.
it's a legal requirement in a plane like this to have an altitude alerting system. So if we are leaving 200 feet within our altitude, it's going to alert us. Alrighty. Now I'm going to punch in some stuff here that's going to help us with our landing. Alright. So we're going to do what's called an ILS. And it'll pop up a little bunch of waypoints in here which will show us where we need to fly. Cool. Arrivals, let's go to Sydney arrival. Cool, yeah, alright. Boom. Now you can see on our screen our first little star has popped up. So do you want to make a little right hand turn for us so we can intersect that star? Perfect. There we go, nice one. And the aircraft's just going to, the autopilot always does what's called a rate 1 turn. So it's standardized for comfort. So see how everything's kind of comfortable right now, just a nice gentle turn. Now in a second what we'll do is we'll disengage the autopilot so that you can fly apply the landing. And I'll start descending us down. So do you want to twist this one down to 3,000 for me? You see how we're not descending? So it's what's called a command instrument. So we have to tell it exactly what we want to do. So we can now say, okay, we don't want to maintain this altitude, let's go for a level change. And see, now what's going to happen is the engines are going to spool back, and the nose is gently going to drop, and the aircraft will descend. Alrighty, should we get you back and flying again, Captain? Let's do it. Alrighty, I'm going to disengage the autopilot, so you're ready to go. Hands on the controls. Autopilot is off. You have control of the aircraft. So what we'll do is we'll descend down to 3,000, and can you maintain a heading of 190 for me? So just turn right onto that little marker there. Doing really well, mate. Good stuff. Cool. So with this landing, I'm going to help you with your throttles, and then on the next one you can do it all yourself, alrighty?
Okay.
All we'll do is, when you hear, there's going to be a bunch of numbers called out by this guy. He's going to call out 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, like you're approaching the ground. When you hear 50, what I'll get you to do is both hands on the throttles and pull them all the way back to idle. And then when your main wheels hit the ground, we can put our reverses up. Cool. And now we're going to turn to intercept that little pink line there. See that? And that lines us up with the runway. Really good stuff, mate. We'll try and maintain 3,000 for the time being, alrighty? Now what we have as well, do you see how we've got these diamonds here and here?
Yes.
So that shows our lateral and vertical guidance. So what we need to do with that is if we have that diamond in that line there and that diamond on that line there, we are perfectly aligned with the runway vertically for our glide slope and laterally for our on the center line. So what we need to do is, you see how it's to the left of our diamond custom there? So we just need to move the aircraft a bit to the left. And we're on this little pink line that has the stars. Now just start turning back to the right, so we don't want to intersect it too sharp. See how you've got a little white pointer as well, which will help align you with, shows you which way you're going to turn. So you see how you got that little white line pops out like that?
Oh yeah.
There you go, perfect. So we want to align with that. And the diamond's coming back into the center as well, look at that. Alrighty. Now you can see straight off the nose as well, there's our runway.
Oh.
See those two red lights? A little bit hard to see, but I'll see if I can get a laser pointer out. So it's just there.
Oh,
See that one there?
Yeah.
That's our runway. So what we'll do is, I'll get our landing checks going, alright? So we'll start with flaps 5. Speed brake arm starters continuous, all lights are on, seatbelt signs are on, RTO brakes for max. Alrighty. Landing gear is coming down. Flaps 10. Alrighty. So you just keep an eye on that runway there, alright?
just aiming at the pink diamond then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow the pink diamond line.
Just love it. Một cái trả lao nữa.
Alrighty, here comes our last stage of flap. Flaps are set. And so now, because we're visual on the runway, so we can see the runway, You don't have to use this anymore, so you can just look at the runway. So you see those big 2 red lights there?
Yes.
Perfect. So we just need to come a little bit more over to the right. And just push that nose a little bit further down. Right, you see the runway there?
Yeah.
Perfect. We can start a little left-hand turn just so we can straighten ourselves back up with it. Well, bit of a left-hand turn just so we can straighten ourselves up. So over to the left a bit.
1,000.
1,000, check, continue. And just push that nose down a little bit as well, so we'll keep this descent going. So we just need to turn a bit to the left. See how we're passing through the runway? Doing well. To the right now. You see how we're kind of slaloming around a bit?
Yeah.
So we need to come a bit to the right. And now start that left turn just to straighten
Start
yourself
left.
up.
500.
So a bit over to the left, so just so we can straighten ourselves up, alright? Cool. Now get ready. When you hear him say 50, I'll get you to pull these all the way back to idle for me, okay?
300.
Looking good.
200.
Nose up just a little bit.
100. Approaching minimums. 50.
Power back
40.
to idle.
30. 20. 10.
Boom. Alrighty, get our reverses up for me and hold them up. Perfect. Remember using your feet to steer. Very good. And 60 knots, you can disengage reverse. Yep, so disengage. Perfect, there we go. So the reason we turn off the reverse is at 60 knots, because otherwise it'll start sucking in debris into the engine.
Oh,
Very well done, Captain.
Well done,
Excellent
well done.
landing. Nicely done, mate.
beautiful.
Coolio.
yeah, very cool.
Alrighty, so we've got time for one more approach.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere in the world you'd like to land at?
Not really.
Not really. We can do Kai Tak, the old Hong Kong airport.
No, that one hard. That
Yeah?
one hard. Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, so give us 2 secs. So what we'll do is we'll take off from the new Hong Kong and we'll land in the old Hong Kong.
Beautiful.
Coolio. Alrighty, so what we're going to do here is, with this landing, we have to make a very sharp right-hand turn right before the runway.
Okay.
So it's a very spooky approach. It's actually, you're not allowed to land there anymore because it was so dangerous.
Hmm.
So now it's a shipping terminal. So we're going to land at a shipping terminal. Cool. Let's give it 2 secs.
So that airport no longer be used.
Yeah, not allowed to anymore. So they've shut the whole thing down. Still a couple aircraft parked there.
Hmm.
But I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Let's have a look. What have we got?
Actually, Dane is going to join the junior cadet.
Oh, yeah?
You reckon it's good place to learn?
Which cadetship was that?
Rockdale, the one in
The Air
Rockdale.
Force.
Oh, the Air Force cadets. Yeah. So you'll do a lot of gliding there. Definitely, it's absolutely. Yeah, the Air Force cadets are really good. They're very good, and it gives you a lot of flight experience before you actually get up there. Okay, so I'll give you a couple headings and everything like that. We won't worry about the data or anything, we'll just get airborne so you can fly. We'll do a short field takeoff so we can get off the ground in least distance. Make sure our speed brakes are coming, flaps are coming up. Cool, alright. We've just got to make sure our flaps, we go 10. So our flap indicator is there. So what we'll do is, after takeoff, we'll make a right-hand turn onto that heading there, onto a heading of 100, meaning no higher than 3,000, just because we're literally just hopping over the road pretty much. We'll fly straight over Disneyland, and then we'll track what's called Checkerboard Hill, which is where we make that final right turn. There's a bunch of strobe lights as well that follow the corner around, and we're going to try fly directly over those.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
Alrighty. Flaps are set, starters continuous, gears down, we're good to go. Ready to go, Captain?
Yep.
Cool, park brake off. Same deal as before, pushing these forward to 40% for me.
Okay.
Cool. Engine temperatures and pressures are stabilised. Stables in the green. You can apply takeoff power. So all the way forward to those green markers. Nice one. Cool. My throttles. So using your feet to steer.
Yeah.
So put that right foot down just a little bit. There you go. Perfect. 100 knots. V1 and rotate. Right, so positive rate of climb, landing gears coming up. And you can start that right hand turn over to our heading. Positive rate, flaps. Coolio.
You got skill then.
Cool. So we can see Hong Kong is straight off the nose. And now we need to start lowering our nose so we can maintain our altitude. Alrighty, so let's start our next turn. Just a left-hand turn onto a heading of 085. Alrighty. Ready? So that was our top of climb. So now we need to start descending. Now let's go down to 2,000, shall we? See how it's a very short journey. We're going to be there in about 2 minutes. Start slowing the aircraft down as well. Start the heading a little bit to the left for me.
Đây cái là most dangerous airport. Em đâu có thấy được đâu. Em phải lạng vào vài cái building thay ra thì mới thấy được. Nó cấm bay. Nó cấm bay airport.
Alrighty. Gonna put our landing gear down. Now we're approaching the airport. We need to keep descending though, so we just need to push that nose down just a little bit more. So the strobe lights are just over here. Can you just see them a little bit? They're kind of spinning around like that. You see that? Cool. So that's what we're trying to fly over. Disregard that 200 checked. You see those strobe lights now?
Oh yeah.
Cool. So we're going to fly over them, and when we hit that start, we'll make that right-hand turn. All right.
Oh, okay.
Final flaps coming in. Here we go, and there's our runway as well. So see our runway's running like that.
Okay, yeah.
See that there?
Yeah.
So we're going to follow these strobes around. So nose up just a little bit, just back onto the horizon. Alright, get ready to start that right-hand turn in a second.
1,000.
1,000 checked, continue. Alrighty.
Very
Let's
sharp turn.
Start that right-hand turn in a second. Once we cross that little box there. Alrighty, ready to go?
Yeah.
Off we go. Let's make it a right-hand turn.
Wow.
And just nose up a little bit.
Nose up a
Sink
bit.
rate. 400. 300. 200.
Back to left.
Bank
back,
angle.
back to
Bank
left.
angle.
Back to left.
100.
So keep that right turn going a bit. See how we overshot a little bit?
Yeah. Oh.
Approaching minimums.
Alrighty. So ready, hands on the throttles.
50.
Back to idle for me.
40.
Really good.
30.
Now just let the aircraft
20.
sink.
10.
Perfect, nice one. Get your reverses out for me. Really good. Excellent work, mate. Really
Use
good
your
stuff.
feet, then.
Yeah.
Cool. Disengage the reverses for me. You can taxi off the runway for me if you'd like. So just using your feet, we're going to take this first exit here, alright? Coolio. There we go. So try stay in the center of that little yellow line for me if you can. That's alright.
Too sharp.
Oh, this
There
one
you go.
very dangerous.
Coolio. And now you can use your power levers for taxiing as well. So you see how we're slowing down a bit?
Oh, yeah.
Let's just keep on the taxiway for a bit. So just put some power on, we'll get this rolling. We can go taxi over a parking of those Cathay 747s. So we might need a little bit more power. Make a right turn following across here.
Right turn.
Yep, right turn, keep it going. Nicely done. We'll go straight all the way along.
Sân bay gì mà giống như là ám sát rồi.
Cool. And then we'll taxi along just towards the end here and we'll bring the aircraft to a stop. Perfect. Nice one. Now stop the aircraft for me.
Stop the aircraft, then.
Point your toes.
What you doing, then? Stop the aircraft.
That's alright, there we go. So stop the aircraft. Nicely done. Let's get our speed brake off by pushing it forward. Nicely done. We'll retract our flaps. If you want to turn all of our lights off here. Perfect. and I'll get my lights off on my side. Everyone can get about the cabin. Cool.
Oh,
Well done,
beautiful.
Captain. Well flown.
Thank you so much.
Very nicely
Good
done.
training. So good, hey? Good experience, huh?
Do you guys want a photo with the sim or anything before?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll take a photo with my boy. Thank you.